Hello and welcome to a new week on Granada Reports, live with news and sport from across the northwest.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Here's what's coming up on tonight's programme.
I truly hope that no other young lady or child has to go through what he did to my daughter and her baby. And I just wish with all my heart that I could bring her back and say, it's okay, you're safe now.
Kiana's abusive boyfriend is cleared of manslaughter after she took her own life, but he's convicted of prolonged domestic abuse, which she failed by the police she called on to protect her.
A nurse left fighting for her life after being stabbed as she worked at one of our hospitals. We're live with the latest.
Back at the helm of the Blues, but can returning Everton boss David Moyes steady the ship.
We're in Crewe with a company celebrating 350 years of bringing porridge to the people.
And a little less cold in the next few days, but a little more cloud than we'd like. I've got all the details in the full forecast coming up for you soon.
Well, first tonight, and she was described as a devoted and loving mother who, despite her personal challenges, was determined to give her baby girl the best life she could.
Kiana Dawes, who was 23, endured 2 years of controlling and abusive behaviour before taking her own life, leaving a note on a mobile phone claiming she was murdered.
Kiana's ex-boyfriend, Ryan Wellings, was today found guilty of assault and subjecting her to a prolonged campaign of abuse, but cleared of her manslaughter.
Well, today questions have been raised about whether more should have been done for the mother of one who had called police at least 5 times reporting domestic problems with Wellings.
Our correspondent Anna Yosef has been following the trial and is outside Preston Crown Court. Anna.
Ryan Wellings showed no emotion as he was found guilty of assault and coercive and controlling behaviour. But the 30-year-old let out a deep, audible sigh as he was found not guilty of manslaughter. As he was led away, he smiled and blew a kiss to his current girlfriend, who was in the public gallery. During this 6-week trial, jurors have heard how Kiana Dawes suffered years of sickening abuse at his hands. The 23-year-old had written a note saying, "Ryan Wellings killed me," before leaving their 9-month-old daughter with a friend and taking her own life in July 2022. Victoria Grimes has this report, which some viewers may find distressing.
Right, just try and take a deep breath, OK? We're here to help. Are you pregnant? Yeah, sorry.
Alone, distressed and heavily pregnant with his child. But even that didn't stop him.
You don't need this stress, do you, when you're pregnant?
No, but when I ring you, you threaten me. And it's so bad. Because it's just stress because I have a mental health condition that you have to take baby off me.
Police were called at least 5 times to Kiana Dawes as she suffered a 2-year campaign of emotional and physical abuse at the hands of Ryan Wellings.
Put it in there. You give it to me, Chloe. She'll give it to you, mutual buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Lighter, what's it?
Who sang on social media after being questioned by police.
Please, it's blood everywhere, help me.
Even after their daughter arrived, the ordeal for Kiana continued.
He's knocked me out, but I've just woken up on the hallway floor and the baby was screaming. It's okay, sweetheart, it's okay, Mummy's fine.
Time and again, police heard her cries for help.
So he's pushed the door into you, has he?
Yeah, he smashed the door straight off me.
But each time, she decided not to press charges.
He said he's tried to drown you.
Yeah.
He's attacked you.
He has had a drill turned on in my face, drilled the teeth out of my mouth.
What else?
He strangles me most regularly.
Yeah.
Like he wants to throw acid in my face so people can't find me attractive.
Kiana said their 2-year romance started as a fairy tale, but soon turned into a nightmare, with so many incidents that police installed a panic alarm at her flat. In July 2022, she was assaulted so badly she ended up in hospital. This body cam footage taken 11 days before her death. Wellings was arrested and bailed and told not to contact her, but he called Kiana in the early hours of the morning with threats. When she reported it to police, it was not treated as a breach of bail. leaving her feeling even more let down. This was the last time she was seen alive, dropping her baby daughter at a friend's house. Days later, she took her own life. 3 officers from Lancashire Police faced disciplinary hearings. Victoria Grimes, ITV News.
Anna, the 2 offences Wellings has been convicted of each have maximum terms of 5 years. But what was the reaction to him being found not guilty of manslaughter?
Well, Lancashire Police said that while they and Kienna's family were disappointed the jury hadn't found Wellings guilty of manslaughter, they were pleased that they'd recognised his criminal wrongdoing. Kienna's mother, who is now the main carer for Kienna's daughter, her granddaughter, spoke outside court after the verdict.
I truly hope that no other young lady or child has to go through what he did to my daughter and her baby. And I just wish with all my heart that I could bring her back and say, it's okay, you're safe now.
We can also now tell you that Wellings' mother, Lisa Green, and his current girlfriend, Emma Croft, are under police investigation for allegedly coaching Wellings to give evidence. He'll now be sentenced at Preston Crown Court on Thursday.
OK, Anna in Preston for now. Many thanks indeed. And if you are affected by the issues raised in that report, there are links to support and advice on our website, itv.com/Granada.
Well, next to Oldham, where the stabbing of a nurse as she worked at the busy hospital on Saturday night has left her colleagues shocked and saddened.
The victim remains in a critical condition, having suffered what police call life-changing injuries. It happened as she worked at the Royal Oldham's acute medical units.
Well, Emma Sweeney is there for us tonight. Emma.
Well, that building behind me tonight just looks like any ordinary NHS hospital, but the events that unfolded here on Saturday were far from ordinary. A nurse whose very job it is to care for people and to save lives is now fighting for her own life. What we know so far is that it was about 11:30 on Saturday night when the nurse, who is in her 50s, was attacked with a sharp instrument, not a knife, but a sharp instrument. The police arrived on the scene. They arrested a 37-year-old man on suspicion of attempted murder. In the last couple of hours, they've named that individual as Ruman Hack. He has now been charged with attempted murder and possession of a bladed article. The Trust here say they are shocked and they are saddened and they are supporting their colleague. Meanwhile, the local MP, Jim McMahon, has described the attack as senseless, and the Health Secretary, Wes Streeting, has said it is horrific. He said that nurses are the backbone of our NHS and should be able to care for patients without fear of violence.
And Emma, how common are these types of incidents?
Well, the answer to that is we don't know, and that's because they don't keep annual figures on the number of attacks against frontline staff in the NHS. But this has long been an issue that has been raised by unions, and today, without commenting on the specifics of this case, Unison did have this to say.
You know, there used to be a respect and a deference for public sector workers, and just over time that seems to be eroding a little bit. People are desperate for their care and treatment for them and their family, and that can often lead to frustration against staff.
Now, here in Oldham, police say that they are continuing to support those affected by what happened on Saturday. Meanwhile, we're told that Ruman Hack will appear before magistrates in Manchester tomorrow.
Emma, thanks so much.
Well, next tonight, the current CEO of the Countess of Chester Hospital has apologised to the families of Lucy Lettsby's victims.
Jane Tonkinson has been given evidence to the Thirlwall inquiry in Liverpool, which is examining the circumstances surrounding the murder of 7 babies and the attempted murder of 7 others.
Well, today, Ms Tompkinson assured the families of Letby's victims that significant changes and improvements have now been made, and the response to anything like the events of 2015 onwards would be handled very differently. Our correspondent, Mal Barham, has been following today's evidence.
The woman, now in charge of the Countess of Chester Hospital, began her evidence today with an apology.
I would like to say how truly sorry we are for the failings that led to the harm and death of children at our trust. We wanted to issue a really clear, heartfelt and sincere apology to those families who we know the suffering continues to this day.
Jane Tomkinson took over as acting CEO of the Trust in 2022, several years after Letby's offending, and became the permanent CEO last February. She told the inquiry that much has changed since Letby carried out her crimes.
We are much more open to listening to our staff and have a much clearer and easier way for people to escalate issues and concerns. I would hope that today the response would be handled completely differently from ward through to board.
Ms Tomkinson accepted the suggestion from the barrister representing some of the families that policies were in place at the time of Letby's attacks. They simply weren't followed.
It feels like lip service was paid to speak out safely, that there was a culture of fear, that the board was dominated by the views of a number of individuals, and that people were potentially threatened with punitive action if they didn't toe a particular line.
She also told the inquiry it was shocking that reputational risk to the hospital appeared to be more important than a culture of keeping patients safe. She explained the Trust now has 3 medical examiners who investigate 100% of deaths and a process looking for avoidability of harm. They've also changed the way staff access insulin, a method Letby used to attack 2 of her victims. But Ms Tomkinson accepted there was still work to be done to improve the culture of speaking out.
Sort of turning the tanker on this, and the green shoots of positivity, people can feel an improvement, they can feel a more inclusive and open and supportive culture with really visible leadership.
The inquiry will continue tomorrow in what is now the final week of oral evidence. The findings expected to be published in the autumn. Mel Barham, ITV News.
Well, next tonight, we've been speaking to John Cooper Clarke, the Bard of Salford, who's about to make history when he performs at the Co-op live next month.
Yeah, he's set to become the first poet to ever headline a UK arena. Not just any arena, of course, it's the biggest and it's on home turf.
Well, he popped in for a chat a little earlier on, and we started by asking him how it feels to be making history here in the North West.
The more the merrier. Large numbers of people don't faze me as much as small numbers of people. Bums on seats, the more the merrier.
And John,
Bring it on.
John, you performed all over the world. Do you find that the crowds here in the North West is even better?
Well, there's that hometown thing, isn't there? That's it's got to count for something. I regularly tour the UK anyway, and a lot of them are towns that I have lived in. But this, of course, is the town that I was born in, and obviously it's special.
You've had an incredible career. You're continuing to have an incredible career. For this particular tour, what should people expect?
Well, more of the same and then some. But I got some new stuff that I've written. It's so fresh it didn't even make it into my latest anthology, What? Which, by the way, will be on sale on the way out at my merch store, as it's available now or will be by the time of the show. It will be available in paperback. So all you cheapskates that didn't buy the hardback, now's your chance. A unique retail opportunity I'm putting before you there. Exit via the gift shop. It was ever thus.
You've got, new poems coming out. You've got a back catalogue of incredible stuff. Where does that inspiration come from?
I compose poetry for most of the day, but there's always something better to do than write a poem. Unless it's your profession. But, it looks like idleness. Actually, I'm kind of at work.
And John, you've got one of your new poems that you've written especially for this show, haven't you, that you're going to read to us now?
I sure do, Katie. This is so fresh, it didn't even make it into the latest collection already. So here it is. This one's called Look in Any Junkyard. Reconditioned roof racks and a pile of perishing tyres. A gearbox full of sawdust in a rundown country squire. For a blood and custard livery of a decommissioned truck. Look in any junkyard whenever you're in Stuck. For fenders, mirrors and hubcaps. Area-specific plates. You never know when you're going to need them. Why wait till it's too late, mate? A wonderland of treasures awaiting your approach. Look in any junkyard for that rust-encrusted hustler coach. Twisted like a pretzel, a wreck in all but name. It's a 1959 Edsel Gore. Blimey, what a shame. If you're looking for a spare part for a post-apocalyptic picture, look in any junkyard. There's something of a mixture. Oh yeah, mister, you're a gentleman mechanic building a kick-ass melon farmer hog, or a gifted amateur engineer who simply needs a cog. You could probably get it here, according to the blog. Look in any junkyard. Don't go near the dog.
Fantastic.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, John.
John Cooper Clarke on Granada reports. He just oozes cool, doesn't he?
No, he might come back in and do a lovely little poem about your shoes because he was admiring those, wasn't he?
What's going on about my tassels? Like, oh, he did it good. Anyway, let's move on to sport now, and a major announcement in the world of boxing. Hello, Mike.
Yeah, hi guys. I'd urge you a little bit of caution with this one, as it's not the first time this has happened, but Tyson Fury has this afternoon announced his retirement from boxing. The 36-year-old former world heavyweight champion, who's from Morecambe, of course, lost his second fight with current title holder Alexander Usyk last month. After the fight, he said he had no intention of calling it a day, and there were hopes he would fight Anthony Joshua later this year. Fury, who previously retired in 2022, made the announcement on Instagram with this cryptic message.
Hi everybody, I'm going to make this short and sweet. I'd like to announce my retirement from boxing. It's been a blast. I've loved every single minute of it, and I'm going to end with this. Dick Turpin wore a mask. God bless everybody. See you on the other side.
Well, one man who isn't retiring is James Anderson. England's all-time leading wicket-taker has announced he's continuing his county cricket career with Lancashire. Anderson hasn't played a competitive game since his international retirement in July last year, but he's signed a new one-year contract with the Red Rose County. Well, let's move on to football now, and we can hear from the new manager of Everton. David Moyes is back, and he's just been speaking at his first press conference since his return was announced over the weekend. David Chisnall was there to see it and is live at the Blues Finch Farm training ground for us. David, what did the new boss have to say?
Well, Mike, here we go again. 23 years on from the start of his first reign as Everton manager, David Moyes is back for a second spell. The hair maybe a little bit more grey rather than ginger. He's, of course, 61 now. But just like back in 2002, well, Everton are once again in a relegation battle. They are just a point above the bottom three in the Premier League. And speaking in the last hour, Moyes actually admitted he was nervous coming back to the club. He also revealed that he came close to returning 3 or 4 times in the past, but it never materialised. Well, it has this time, and he says that Everton is the only club that could have tempted him back into management right now.
I'm not coming back to the same Everton as what I left it. I don't believe I am. But I don't think Everton are getting the same David Moyes who was here at the time he was as well. But I hope they're getting somebody a bit more experienced, maybe a bit wiser. My idea is to try and do everything as quick as I can here, because I'm not going to be here for 11 years like I was before. I'll be here for a period to try and maybe stabilise and try and take the club another direction.
Well, David, he used the word stabilise there, and that is exactly why the club's new American owners have turned to David Moyes after a very turbulent spell.
Yeah, that's right. They see him as the right man for the job, a safe pair of hands with all his experience, all his connections to this club. And the feeling is somewhat mutual as well, because Moyes says that he feels the future can be bright under the new ownership. And of course, the club moving into a new stadium next season.
I've been really privileged here to work under some great owners and people who've helped me. I've worked under people who their intention was to build a better Everton. And I think they've done that. I think we done that at a period which wasn't easy either. And I think that this period's not going to be easy, but I think the new ownership have got big ideas, big hopes that they can make a big difference to the football club.
Well, Moyes admits that he needs to start working quickly. It's all about winning right now. He's going to be joined in his backroom staff by his former player Leighton Baines, and fans can get a first glimpse of David Moyes back in the home dugout at Goodison when Everton take on Aston Villa in just over 48 hours.
OK, David at Finch Farm, thank you very much indeed. Well, David Moyes returns to Everton with the club still in the FA Cup. They've been drawn at home to Bournemouth in round 4. Manchester United will face Leicester City next after winning the big tie of the weekend in round 3. They drew 1-1 with Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium. They played an hour with 10 men before winning 5-3 in a penalty shootout. A welcome victory for Ruben Amorim, who says he can see signs of improvement.
With all the performance was not really good, but the spirit was there, and that is really important. When I say was not really good in terms of with 11 players, we should play better with the ball. That's the only part, but the rest was really incredible.
Blackburn Rovers have been handed a mouth-watering round 4 clash with Premier League Wolves. Rovers booked their place in the next round courtesy of a 1-0 win away to fellow Championship side Middlesbrough. Lancashire rivals Burnley also face Premiership opposition in the next round. They're off to Southampton after beating Reading 3-1 in extra time. Liverpool have been drawn away to Plymouth Argyle after seeing off Accrington Stanley. They beat the League Two side 4-0 at Anfield. And there was no giant killing at the Etihad as Manchester City beat Salford City 8-0. James McAtee with a hat-trick. City will face Leyton Orient or Derby County in the next round. But the big story to emerge after that match was that one of City's most decorated players, Kyle Walker, could soon leave the club. Walker was left out of the City side after telling the club he wanted to leave to play abroad. The 34-year-old right-back has helped City win 17 trophies since joining in 2017.
We cannot understand the success that we had these years without Kyle. It's impossible. Have been our right back and give us something that we didn't have and have been amazing. But now in his mind is he would like to explore already, to go another country to play the last years for many reasons.
He did really well at City as well, didn't he? 6 Premier League titles and a Champions League, so he goes with lots of medals.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Tyson Fury, do you reckon that was really it for him?
No. He'll be back. He loves it too much.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Mike.
He'll be messaging Mike after watching that. Well, next, as birthdays go, this one is really quite special because 2025 is the 350th year in the business for one company here in the Northwest.
Yeah, back in 1675, a certain King Charles II was on the throne, and in rural Cheshire, a certain William Lee family founded an oat mill to power the horses that transported goods around the community.
Now, in the era of Charles III, that milling company is still going strong, though the oats are powering people these days, as Paul Crane reports.
When you're going from this to this and providing 5 million bowls of porridge a week to customers right across the globe, it helps to have the right experience behind you. How about 350 years of oat milling expertise based in Crewe? Will that do? This Cheshire company has been around since the 1600s. But before we go any further, let's start with the basics.
OK, crash course in oats. These are the oats in their purest form, straight from the farms up and down the land. We take the hulls off to make groats, which are in the inside. The groats are cut into pinhead, and the pinhead is then rolled to make porridge.
Right, are you with us? Less straightforward is the milling process which goes on here at the factory in Crewe. That's because it's a secret.
So it's the way that you turn the oats into the porridge. It's a very complicated process.
So is that a secret?
Well, I can't tell you that.
James wasn't giving anything away. Well, we don't want any sticky secrets being revealed. More forthcoming are the staff who work here, and a proper family affair it is.
I'm the mill manager here, but I've got a few of my family also working here. My brother Colin, my son Lee, my son-in-law Paul, and my other son-in-law Si.
Every single oat comes from the UK and has kept the country nourished through 2 world wars. These old pictures stand testament to the company's longevity in the community.
It's a great heritage to have. I mean, in the day-to-day we focus really on today and the future and investing and moving forward, so we don't have too much time to think about the past, but it's only because we've got that great heritage that we're able to do what we do.
So here's the thing, the porridge is exported all over the world. to countries such as, wait for it, Mauritius, the Seychelles and Barbados. So if you're Scottish, you'll add salt to yours, or fruit if you're more health conscious. And there might be a grain of truth in the fact I take mine with syrup and possibly a hint of sugar. Outstanding. Paul Crone, ITV News, Crewe.
It's amazing how they've kept it in the family, isn't it? Because most people go to work for a break from this.
Yeah, I know my in-laws are watching, so it would be delightful to watch it to work with all the in-laws. Here's a look at the weather with Lucy.
Why do I need a shower? I've been out in the rain.
The faster you go, the sooner you'll be out. You'll save water too.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
A very good evening to you. That bitterly cold Arctic air of last week finally gives way into a new week. A very different feel and theme for us in the next few days. Cloudy skies for many and a slight patchy frost likely to return in the next few nights. The coldest air becomes confined to the near continent in the next few days. For us, temperatures start to recover. And with high pressure in control, we've got generally fine, quiet, dry conditions for the time being. As for the next few hours, in contrast, we've got some patchy rain and drizzle, a little soggy out there, some steadier rain in places. With the moisture in the air, prime conditions for misty low cloud and patches of fog to develop. Hill fog becoming a little thicker, giving some poor visibility across the higher routes of the Pennines. And nowhere near as cold as recent nights, those temperatures way above freezing and staying frost-free. Just a little chillier in the most remote rural spots into the first stages of the new day. And into Tuesday morning, it will be a little grey and gloomy. That misty low cloud and hill fog hanging around for much of the day. A slow, steady thaw where we've still got any pre-existing and lying snow, so some standing water likely in the next couple of days, because look at those temperatures, so much milder than it has been. A huge contrast to last week. Highs of 10 or 11 degrees through tomorrow afternoon. As for the rest of the week, those temperatures start to slide away again towards the end of the week and the weekend. Near average for the time of year, but a good deal of fine, dry weather with just a light breeze. And by night, it will be chilly enough for temperatures to dip near a freezing point. So the next few nights will be a little colder with just a slight and patchy frost in places.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Well, that's it for tonight's Granada Reports. We're back with the late news after news at 10.
Whatever you're up to, have a lovely evening. Many thanks indeed for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.